I've been thinking about this lately, in that the key thing for me is realizing that I am in control. Well, let me take this back, right? So you might be in a situation that feels really not great, right? And it could be any number of different situations that are, I know lots of people listen to me that are in the academic game. They're maybe researchers, or maybe they're a professor or a graduate student, whatever. Maybe they're managers of a Fortune 500 firm. I know lots of people sort of listen to me, but the key thing with what I'm trying to communicate is that your situation probably is kind of crappy. It can be very crappy, and there's like not a lot that you might be able to do with the actual external circumstances that you're part of. But what you can do is, over the long run, you can change where you are and what you're actually doing. I know that this seems, the what you could do, the first way is sort of framing what you're dealing with in a different way, sort of think about it in a different way, and sort of think about, things in a positive way, right? Like, frame that you're actually in a good position, whatever that particular good position is, right? So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is to suggest in your mind that you can actually get out of it and you can change that particular situation, right? So that's the whole entrepreneurial aspect of things, is to realize that the world is not static, right? Like, you can actually change things and make it for the better, right? So for me, um, I'm trying to actively push against the the crap that we deal with. I was reading a lot of articles today. I'm sort of interested in negative feedback, and um, you know, sort of the dealings of how you process things like failure or anything that's sort of on the negative side of of things. And it rings such truth to me when I read this stuff, in terms of reflection on the academic game, in terms of the harsh realities that, I mean, the sort of, you add it all up, right? All of this sort of negative feedback, you just get crapped on all the time, right? Like, you get rejection after rejection after rejection, and you add it up, and it is debilitating mentally, right? There's all sorts of things, right? Like, from not having just good well-being inside, and your sort of perception of the world is very negative, to even more extreme circumstances. I don't want to talk about that on this podcast, but just not doing good inside. And I want to point out, and I really want to discuss this, that, and push back against that crap, right? Like, change that narrative, change that story, like, frame what you're looking at, right? It's a beautiful day to be out and about. If it's pouring right now and you're looking out at the world, man, that is a gorgeous day that is actually raining, because it's allowing things to grow, and you're going to have nice, beautiful green scenery in the next little bit. Now, the other thing is to realize that you can absolutely change this circumstance, whatever that might be. And it's just horrendous, right? Like, this sort of deep darkness that you end up getting to, but you could change that. You can go to a moment where um, you can add value in other people's lives repeatedly in a long way. So that's part of what I'm actually doing with the whole reciprocity project, right? That's why I started doing it. It was in a deep, deep funk. I mean, I still get in a deep funk. I try to record that. I try to be upfront about that, so you could see it in the sort of waves that I get. But, part of me is pushing back against that crap, so that other people, and including myself, right? The others are me including, get to be better with themselves, and to push back, right? Like, to suggest that the world is damn awesome, and we can control our who we are. If there's crappiness that's going on, change your circumstance. Like, actually do something that's positive, that changes who you are. It changes where you are situated, whatever that might be, and move away from that, right? So eventually, um, eventually maybe this podcast actually turns to something. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to work damn hard to make it actually work and turn it into something that people actually want to be part of, so that maybe it actually is a sustainable thing in the long run, right? And I don't have to deal with all the sort of negative stuff. I mean, I'm sure it's going to introduce all sorts of more complications, but you know what? Screw it. I want to have this positive message that you can get out there and you can change things, and you could just um, do some amazing things if you do it. If you actually do it, that's the key thing. And if you do it, do that action to repeat. I mean, it's never easy. Nothing is ever easy, right? And and the reason is it just takes a long time, and you have to keep pushing back. I remember the moment where it was, I don't know, about my third or fourth year of my PhD studies, where it was just like, screw, it was my fourth year. And I was like, screw this. I'm not going to be negative anymore. And I worked on being smiling, right? And that's all it took. And it was probably a year or two. And I've been gradually working away from that. Yes, it's deep and dark. And man, I can't deal with it. The sort of rejection. But I'm going to push back, and I am going to do everything that I can to change my circumstance to make sure that life is good for me and life is good for you. And I think that's where we need to have the conversation, push back, right? You can change this. You can actually do some amazing things. It's going to take you a lot longer than you ever think it's going to take. I mean, there's easy solutions out there, but those easy solutions are never easy. They always come back with a lot of different stuff. But let's just change this conversation that goes on in our heads so that we take control of what we're actually doing. And that's where the sort of message with what I want you to take away from this is, screw it. Work towards doing something that's freaking awesome. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Whether it's entrepreneurial, whether it is just maybe it's an exercise regime in your life. It doesn't matter, but just work towards it and repeatedly push towards that, push back against the world that wants you to be negative inside, and just enjoy who you are and repeat that time and time again. It's the same message. Repeat the positive, I can do this. Today's going to be awesome. And it's just repeat. That's it.